good boy, good boy. Good Footy Energies. Yeah, good boy, good boy. Good Footy Energies. Yeah, good boy, good boy. Good Footy Energies.
Hello and welcome to the Good Footy Energies Podcast, the place where umpire Dean Marr gets.
Absolutely.
He
Absolutely.
writes his memoirs in the corner.
He does.
I am Brad Hollis, and with me as always is Reuben, Motes and DJ Jesus.
What's up?
Good to be here.
Nice.
What's going on? How's your break? What have you been up to?
Yeah, Rubes, what have you been up to, man?
Busy. I've been a busy
He's
boy.
passing on the question.
Yes.
He's relaying.
Most
It's
has
just a
been
handball
doing-
behind.
I've been doing bugger all, that's why.
Yeah.
I've been getting into just going barefoot on carpet.
Huge.
Yeah, just
Good
like,
feeling.
in that movie, The Big Short, Christian
Oh,
Bale's
yeah.
character.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think he has Asperger's, but he's walking around
Important information.
doing numbers, doing calculations, and shorting the housing market and having feet on carpet. He needs that grounding with all those
He does.
numbers too. So I
Hey.
haven't mind. I've been
It's a bit of yin and yang in that.
yep.
I think just on that that character, real quick, what makes it so believable is his ridiculous lazy eye, I think. Like,
Yep.
that just brings that whole character
the glass
together.
eye. Yeah.
The glass eye.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the love of metal music.
That
I think
too, that
was
too.
essential backstory. Yeah. It's like it's a real. I don't want to alienate a portion of our fan base,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
listening to metal is a huge red flag. in my book.
Absolutely. Unless it's a character in The Big Short.
Did we talk about this over the summer pod? Maybe.
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure if we did.
I can't remember. I was
Yeah,
so
too.
relaxed.
Um,
So relaxed on the summer pod.
I've been watching The Big Short on YouTube clips comes up in my recommended, and one of them when he's calling after like the housing market starting to crash, and he should be getting good reward from that from the banks, but they're not acknowledging it yet, and he's like the lady on the phone is like, it's not correlated to, the thing, and he's like, but it is correlated.
Yeah, and he does it in that exact tone too.
Yeah.
They're independent markets. They're not always correlated. I know it sounds odd, but these are very complicated products.
They are correlated.
Welcome to the podcast. Welcome new listeners and old listeners coming together.
Definitely.
We've changed up the studio. DJ G just on the carpentry.
On the carpentry, on the drywall.
Walking
carpet.
home from Bunnings with a trolley and some drywall.
That was full on.
The lovely lady let me borrow the Gyprock trolley.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's because we're part of the Bunnings trade family, of
Well,
course.
we are. It was too hot to wear the jumpers. For those new listeners, the last episode of last year, we got a couple of Bunnings trade jumpers.
Still waiting to get my size large
Size.
in the mayo. Or XL.
No mayo.
No mayo.
It was one of the first days since that last podcast that I haven't actually worn the Bunnings jumper. I've
Yep.
been living in it, so thanks once again to the Bunnings trade family.
all summer. There was those few days that were, peaking at 37, 38 motes, and you just refused to take it off.
Like an emo kid in middle school, just jumper
Yeah.
on the hottest day, never taking it off.
It's funny you see those people walking in the summer like they're wearing like a jumper and pants. Like, that's got to be pretty hot.
Pretty hot. Pretty hot.
Do you think it's a similar energy to like the young kid in the middle of winter that's wearing shorts and a t-shirt?
Absolutely.
And they look at you like they get your attention. They're like, "Well, I'm not cold. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't say anything, mate." Like,
I always wondered about that kid, and I feel like that kid just only owned one pair of pants, and that's why he just kept repeating, 7 different pairs of
I
shorts.
could go the shorts with a jumper
Oh, yeah,
in the
absolutely.
winter.
Can do.
as a kid, you're going to be running around. Like if you're going to like your uncle's 40th,
Just
you're probably
running
going to be
around.
like running
That's
around
exactly
and
what
shit.
it's in my mind.
That was a perfect example.
Run around. But yeah, we've changed the studio up. We've actually we've changed angles. We've done a 90-degree. We're actually facing north now.
Well north.
It's important.
Which is you should look that up. Because I sleep in my bed. I changed my bed. I sleep from north to south.
What, every night? Sorry.
How is that the question?
On the floor.
feet facing north.
No, feet facing south.
Yeah, always going south.
North to south. We're actually
Yeah.
going into the current. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I'm
what
the
we're doing.
same. I go
So
north
go
to south.
feng shui. Yeah, feng shui.
Feng shui.
Sleeping. Is your bed facing the right direction? So we just got
What?
TV.
There's a wrong direction? Oh, Motes, you are in so much trouble here.
Wake up.
You definitely face west.
I do.
You're the biggest
I
wicked
know
witch.
for a fact that I face west.
Okay, north can increase various sleep disorders. It is called the death position if you're facing north. Do not face north.
That doesn't sound good.
That had no positives whatsoever.
We're not sleeping.
Yeah.
We're alive here.
That's
We're
true.
awake.
I'm gonna get this compass out.
Can you just go scroll up slightly, Jesus? I want to see what it means if
Yeah,
you face
please.
west.
It's actually a good name for a band, Facing
Facing
West.
west? Yeah.
Oh wow, we are literally facing north, like dead on.
You have a compass on your phone?
Yeah, everyone does, man.
It's 2022. Anyway, this is a football podcast. I think we're in summer mode.
Yeah,
We are still in summer
mode.
For those listening, we are on YouTube now. It's also this year's a video podcast as well. So I don't know how you like to
Major
take in
leagues.
your podcast because
We're moving
sometimes
up.
I like to walk just with the AirPods in, listening to podcasts. But then every now and then I like to watch.
I like to watch too.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's the studio is it's not 100% put together yet. It feels like in the old when the MCG was getting
Oh, hell yeah.
updated back in the early 2000s, and I remember I went to the grand final 2004, and one of the stands was just like dirt tradie area.
It's just like a couple of like little diggers
Yeah.
and cranes and stuff out there.
Yep, so it's under construction.
Was anyone working that day? How good would that be?
I would have someone get in there to like retrieve the footies, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Yep, true.
Just
I can picture there's someone working.
surely. So, a couple of blokes from there in high
Saturday.
vis. Yeah.
Yep.
And they were peaking though. They're the last people. They're the last people to love footy, and they're like, "Fuck, got to work today. So many people around.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
like
too much noise."
getting anxiety.
Yeah, just hating it.
But Eddie Maguire recently proposed update to the MCG, like
Yeah.
redo $1 billion
$1 billion.
revig of one of the stands to increase and put a roof. He wants to
put
put
a
a
roof,
roof
yeah.
on, which I want to get your opinions. I wasn't. I'm not sure I'm too keen on
Nah,
the roof because
not
what's the roof to stop the rain?
Well, it's non-traditional. Not
Yeah.
into the roof.
Is it
you
to
know?
stop the rain? Because I think you don't want to get rid of the rain. You want the
Exactly.
You want to still
part
be
of the game.
Yeah,
connected
I mean,
to the-
if you compare, like, if you look at late 90s, I think is the last, late 90s, early 2000s, when they really weren't doing the drop-in pitches as much around Australia, and they also, didn't treat the grounds as well. I think there's games where there's genuinely mud all over the field, and I can't
Yep.
remember the last game that wasn't in Brisbane or Gold Coast, where they sometimes get those torrential downpours where you
Yep.
had people actually sliding across the ground. Because the ovals just drain so well now. So I feel like they've already taken that one first step by improving the ground, but putting the roof on just makes it feel a little bit artificial and a little bit American to me.
Yeah, good point.
The only thing I thought about the roof, as you guys are saying this, is like, you love laying in bed facing west, of course.
Of course, yeah.
And you love hearing the rain on the roof. Is there sort of an element of that where there's this sort of ambience that could be created by rain on the roof?
God damn it, he's right.
Well, see, I don't mind if you have the roof, but you only bring it out on special occasions. See, like they have one. I feel like maybe they use it too much.
They've got it on. They've got a policy now. It's closed for every game.
See, the problem with Etihad, right, is, and we're talking about east, west, north, it's facing the wrong way. So when you make a tennis court or a ground, you've got to take into account where the sun is, because otherwise
Absolutely.
you'll be looking into the sun
Yeah.
as you're going for a ball. So I'm not sure which way. I think it may even be north to south. I'm not sure which way you're supposed to put your oval to fix that problem. But the Etihad they've made the mistake. They went the other way, and that really reminds me of because I've worked a couple jobs here and there. You start a new job or something, and you're halfway through doing something, and you realise, fuck, I've been doing the wrong thing. I've got it. Yeah, you just stuffed it, right? Except this happened on a much bigger scale. They're 6 months in. They've done the planning. They're built. It's half built, and some guy's just like, hang on a second. Which way is it? Is it supposed to be fake? Bam! You're stuffed.
How do you reckon they realise that? Do you reckon they were having smoke out and someone's like, open up their sandwich bag and got a reflection on the plastic, like a glare?
I also like that vision because it sort of implies that there was like a small crew of construction workers to build that. Like it wasn't like it wasn't like a heavily scrutinised process where they went through tenders and multiple architects and they've just gone, fuck it. There's 3 blokes that have just rocked up with a concrete truck and just started to build Etihad.
Yeah.
And they've got halfway through. They've got the bowl of the oval up, and then they're just coming out of the ground, and they go, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah, they're just like, hang on a second. Which way is it? Which way is Vingen? Like, they're not.
He's like, nah, in the afternoon, mate.
Yeah,
Goes the other way.
Mate, there'll be a roof. It'll be
Yeah, we'll be fine.
It'll
be fine.
Roof's solves the problem. Roof's closed.
No, just leave the client to me, boys. You want it this way.
Yeah.
Start chucking some construction jargon in there, and any man will just pretend he knows what he's talking about.
Bloody oath.
Because with the roof open, I love Etihad. Because you love the. Yeah, it does feel a bit artificial. That's a cool thing to have, but in general, I prefer the elements, and I like the idea of sitting front row. It's pissing down. You're almost more connected to the game, and you've earned that right to sit there and
I
see.
think the hole for the roof as well is too small. So when they have it open, it's like half the field is drenched in light, and the other half is like completely dark.
Yep.
So when you're watching on TV, when they had the roof
true.
open, the poor camera guy would have to try and like adjust their settings and focus to keep the ball in focus.
You can't
It's
do that.
horrible,
with
yeah.
settings.
It also looks like, as someone watching it from the comfort of my couch, it looks shit when half the oval, has pure sunlight and the other half is like dark as anything.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's bad. So no roofs.
So, I think it's a privilege to call yourself a Good Footy Energies podcast listener, and it's something that you've really got to earn, because a podcast listener does. He or she maybe has the ability to create new and better realities and improve conditions. So for me, it really is Good Footy Energies, and it's just like something that I don't mince words with that, with anything. But podcast for me has just really gone, boy, there's a time I listened to the pod and I thought, you know what? This is it. This is exactly it.
All right, welcome back, and welcome to all those new listeners out there or viewers. We thought we'd just do a bit of housekeeping before we get into it, just to clean up a few things from last year, so everyone's on the same page.
There you go.
We left a few things hanging on the cliff.
Yeah, left a couple of things. We talked about Mitre 10. We talked about home hardware. Sorry, not Mitre 10.
We were wondering if there was any home hardwares left in the world. We had a prominent one close to us that we used to drive past all the time that went missing, and we weren't sure if it was still a thing in SA, but.
Yeah, when we had some people email in some correspondence, and there was a guy called Nick, and he sent us a photo of a home hardware in Rye. It was this one. That one. But then he's recently, only about a couple of weeks ago, he emailed me again. He said, update, Rye's home hardware has now actually been converted to a Mitre 10.
Jeez.
He said, I put the absolute moz on him. Can't believe it.
Gentrification at its finest.
I don't think that's the definition of gentrification, but
You like it?
it's more like big business eating the little guy.
Also a bit of big fish, small fish?
Yeah, sounds like gentrification to me.
So I think we'll probably leave that in last year. I think home hardware's on the way out. We could
Clearly. They can't even keep one in Rye, and that sounds wholesome as
that?
anything.
It's a depressing one to come back too early.
What's
but
that like last year? You get like a honeymoon year.
yeah,
or
like
something.
a testimonial.
Yeah, we gave him a testimonial, but it's time to move on because
Time
at
to
the
hang
end
the
of the
boots
day,
up.
If
Yeah.
you can't keep up with the Yeah. Oh fuck yeah, true. No, just funny because we're Bunnings Boys.
Yeah, we're Bunnings Boys. Yeah,
We're Bunnings Boys.
We're Bunnings Boys. But we're very much Bunnings Boys, but we've got a soft spot for home hardware.
Yeah, so I thought
Whoops.
home hardware.
Well, that was before anyone grabbed us. There was that period of almost the whole season till the end where these hardware companies were flirting with us, essentially.
It's sort of like when you go for an established side. So say when Port were down in the dumps, probably 5-10 years ago.
Yep.
And you would just pick a team that you were liking the way that they were playing footy that wasn't Port that you'd get behind. So that was sort of home hardware for me.
Yep.
I feel
So
that.
it was like Doggies 2016, really feeling the finals run. theirs was a success story, unlike Home Hardware, but you don't win them all.
And it's like we were also sort of practicing with Home Hardware. We were building up our own sort of hardware store.
That's the goal of this podcast. We want to own a hardware store.
One of the other goals was we said last year I want to jump off a 10-meter diving board.
Yeah.
That was more of a personal goal than a...
That was a personal goal of yours.
Very personal.
I tried to link that into the football somehow. Still haven't found a way to do that. If anyone's listening and you're like a lifeguard at a swimming pool around Australia...
Possibly about to finish up in that role.
Yeah, 10-meter minimum. Maybe there's a 4-meter practice on early, and
I think you go from 3. I think you go from 3 to 5 to 10.
Yeah.
Perhaps like after hours. Like we could do it at like 4 a.m.
Yeah, I'll sign the waivers.
Yeah.
It may be raise some money for a charity. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Exactly.
Maybe there's a
Bunnings.
fear of heights related charity you could do it for.
Yeah, get the fear.
Is there? Jesus, can you you able to go on the interweb for us? You able to see if there is a fear of heights charity within Australia
related to footy as well?
Of course.
So
of course. Face Your Fears. Alana and Madeline Foundation. Isn't that Nick Rewalt's?
No, I just think that's Maddie.
That's Maddie.
But that's a good charity.
Great charity. We got to think of footy-related charities.
Well, the Rewalt brothers, what are they?
The Rewalt, the one for obviously for Maddie.
Taking Specky.
Obviously, the Rewalt brothers.
Okay,
the Rewalt brothers. The Rewalt brothers charity.
The Rewalt brothers, right?
Love that.
I'm going to take a specky off of the diving board. Someone's going to chuck me a ball.
Yep.
And I'm going to take a specky off there, and if I make it, and we raise money, take leap of faith. And what's that?
I know, but it looks like someone fell down a cliff.
Oh, that's just
cliff, dude.
So I'm going to take a specky off of the diving board.
So you're now not only going to dive, you're going to take a specky.
And so mark into pin drop.
Yep.
And then
that's achievable.
And
then you're going to push back off the mark and find a target.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
I was personally picturing the prayer hands pin drop.
Oh, yeah, I used to love just quickly when I used to go to the local watering hole or aquatic centre or whatever. My favourite move.
So by local watering hole, you meant a literal hole filled with water, not a pub, as is the acceptable use of that term.
Yeah, I meant a literal hole.
Clarification's good.
With water, a bit of gentrification at the finest. My favourite move off the diving board used to be the genie in a bottle, which is when you jump and then you cross your legs and then you do like the symbol with the hand. Yeah. Anyway, I just thought I'd chuck that out there.
That's good. Or the bad meditator.
The loud meditator.
Yeah. I'm not doing that off the 10 would you guys be interested in jumping off?
Oh, no. 100%. No. Oh, fucking oath, I'll do that. I'll actually dive 10 metres, actually. I'll dive off the 3. I'll do a proper dive, like nose dive. But off the 10, I'll probably do a genie in the bottle.
The other thing was something we talked about last year was the phenomenon of there's only a few sports out there where you're not guaranteed a possession in the game, your team. Mm-hmm. So like AFL was one of them because if the ball goes up for a ball up, you're not guaranteed. Like soccer, you get a kick off.
Wins it down, yeah.
Yeah, if you kick goal, if the other team just goes goal, you're not technically. I mean, it's 1 million to billion to 1.
Yeah.
In the trillions. But we had a guy, because I remembered I saw a stat and it listed a couple of games, but I forgot what the stat was and I couldn't think of any other sports. But some guys emailed in from Andrew Ryan, and he's like...
Thanks, Rhino.
Thanks, Rhino. He's like, also, not sure if you ever worked this out on the podcast, but I remember you saying the AFL was the only sport you can think of doing there. I thought about this for a long time and came up with a couple of sports where it's the same!
Can't wait to pick holes in this.
In ice hockey and lacrosse outdoor, the game and each period starts with a face-off, which the same team can always win. And after every goal, it goes back to the middle for another face-off. Face-off. Exclamation mark.
Face-off's good.
And then I was like, thinking the movie Face-Off.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
You want to watch a DVD?
Look, Wilfred,
You seen Goodfellas?
Yeah.
What about Face-Off? Seen Face-Off?
Is that the one with John Travolta?
Yeah, I was talking to this girl recently, and she told me to watch Face-Off because in her bio it said she likes watching Nicolas Cage movies. So I messaged saying, have you seen Adaption? Because I just watched that movie, Adaption, by...
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, he's got
Brad was saying it, but then he was thinking about it again. He's like, oh.
Nah, it doesn't go anywhere.
Okay.
Doesn't go anywhere.
So, yeah, that ice hockey and lacrosse.
Ice hockey and lacrosse. Has he got anything else?
No, that's it. Well, there's not many. There's not
I
many
don't
games.
consider either of those real sports. So
Oh, I do.
Yeah,
100%.
I definitely do. Motes has a
That's
real
cool.
problem. Motes has a real problem with lacrosse. I know he does.
They play lacrosse in American Pie.
Yeah. Stifler
Something
loves lacrosse.
Yep.
He's the definition of the guy that plays lacrosse.
So thank you to Andrew Ryan for sending that in.
Thanks, Ronnie.
I actually really enjoyed that email because I was like, yes.
Well, I feel like you'd enjoy it because you learnt something.
Yep.
Brad loves the emails where he learns things.
What?
What? I thought that was an actual
I'm going to
thing.
get all these emails.
Good. Send
you
through,
need to learn.
Send through intellectual emails, people. Doesn't have to be football related, but please make it football related. When you send through emails, that have to be football related. Please make sure they're football related.
Speaking of Tinder, I'm not sure how much we'll cut that out about that girl that
None of it.
told me to watch Face Off. There's another girl actually on
I'd like to
because,
face off with her.
We have a pizza here actually in honour of Warnie, just a little
Yeah.
bit of an homage, a Hawaiian pizza,
an offering.
And when he passed away, it was a shock last weekend. I was gonna message. I was gonna message this girl on Tinder. Just matched, and I didn't have much to talk about, right? So then I was gonna I was thinking, I'll mention Warnie or something. But then I was like, that felt a bit weird to mention
Clutching at
to
straws.
use Warnie's death like that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
then I said, you know what?
Yeah.
That's what Warnie would have liked. Yes! That's exactly
what Warnie would want.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he want. Oh my god, that is so true. He wouldn't have, if it was Warnie though, he wouldn't even have thought about it. He would have just gone all guns blazing, straight up, would have hit that chick
Yeah. I was
up.
going to say, it's what he would have wanted. It's what he would have done.
And so in honour of him, and it worked. It went well. It was all right.
Bloody oath.
Well, it was fine. It was good.
Well enough.
To go out for a Hawaiian pizza and a vodka Red Bull.
So yeah, we'll let's have a piece here.
The grand reveal. Just so everyone knows, this pizza's been sitting here for what, half an hour, you reckon, Motes?
Oh, dude, look at that.
Looks fuck.
The camera.
You
got a roaming camera
That
there,
does look
Clarkie.
good.
Looks pretty good.
Dude, you want me to hold that real quick?
But it's like one of those traditional pizzas, but then with the trendy sort of pineapple on it.
Yeah, let's get one of these ones happening. No. Get one of those. Get one of those. That's mad. Can we just watch Brad eat it now? Like, how good would it be if we just don't get a slice?
Slices on that.
Yeah, big. That's what Warnie would have wanted. Big slices.
Brad Healy, a high floater. Grant Laurie and Kappa. Kappa! Oh, one of the marks of the year. Warwick Kappa up early, hung in the air and took a screamer. Here we see on replay an absolutely perfect ride for Warwick Kappa there. Eyes on the ball.
All right, let's talk some footy, boys.
Let's do it.
What are we all looking forward to this season?
Well, I think myself and all North Melbourne fans are keen to have a look at Jason Horne-Francis. I've seen a little bit of form from the preseason games and just the standard sort of he's burning up the track sort of stuff that you hear from every club about their first round draft picks. But I think he's going to be really special, coming and make an immediate impact. So very much looking forward to that.
You kicked a good goal, I reckon I saw highlight.
Really?
It's on the
You reckon you saw it?
on the social media.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Umpired in.
What are you looking forward to, Rubes?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to hopefully Melbourne not winning the flag again. Like if I could look forward to saying be that, because
it's a negative one.
It was not really negative.
You're a Melbourne fan.
Yeah, second team. Can I have a second team? Well, you know what? They've soured me after the grand final. I thought the grand final was such a disappointment. Even though it was great up until midway through the third. Like,
because they won by too much.
Yeah, they won by too much. It was just like such a good game. And it was like, this is completely gone pear-shaped.
Sounds like Reuben's disappointed at the overall grand final.
I am. I'm angry.
He's upset at Melbourne.
I'm angry.
That'll take at least 5 weeks to wear off.
Yeah. At least. At least. I think more like 10. Nah, if I had to look forward to anything, I'm looking forward to how even spread I think this season will be. I think it'll be from 1 through to 12 will be very competitive. And I just have this inkling that maybe it'll be a serious race to the finals. Could be anyone's game.
Yep. I'm looking forward to the Sunday twilight games up in Perth. Just like your classic West Coast, Gold Coast, West Coast, GWS, Freo, St Kilda, chuck in a North Melbourne. That's where
Gold
it's
Coast,
at. That is where it's at.
Yeah,
Gold Coast Freo is always one that I mark in the calendar at the start of the year.
Yep. I think Gold Coast playing West Coast this Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah. What else needs to be said other than wow?
The COVID backups. Like all the pool that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Give some players a second chance.
There'll surely be some good luck stories out of that. Someone that comes in really impresses and hopefully gets elevated to the normal list midway through the year. So excited to see probably some familiar names really get another go and maybe a few wild cards as well.
Are you guys? Sorry, I cut you off.
It's gonna be a good question.
I was going to say. Are you guys hoping that maybe we get a little spread of COVID so during the season so those backups can come through? Or you're hoping just nothing, bugs it up?
A little bit of drama.
Yeah, a little bit of
drama for the season, the media.
I mean, I would never want...
We can report. I would just like to say I would never want anyone to go down with the COVID. I mean,
what's that from? You made that up?
I'm just making it up. Umpire D.
Of course, we would never want anyone to contract COVID ever on the podcast. But if it were to happen, one of the silver linings would be getting to see some substandard players that couldn't make the normal come back in.
Motes is all about the silver lining.
That he is. We always call him silver lining Moten.
There was that guy from Fremantle, Tobe Watson, with the red hair, looked like King Cruel.
Really?
But he got delisted from Fremantle. Now he's
terrible decision.
Now he's in West Coast COVID pool. So he's done the crisscross.
I like that. The crisscross.
Has the Freo West Coast trade ever been done successfully?
Well,
good question.
Jared Schofield, I think, might have done it.
Schofield went from
Well, he went to Port initially, but because he was a West Coast, he was a Perth boy. But I think it hasn't been done in ages. Except recently, it's done like twice because of the pool stuff. Like there was Hugh Dixon as well.
No one.
He was in my Moneyball team of the year a couple of years ago.
That was a serious team. That was a serious team. Ed Richards, don't forget that.
Because someone, I don't know what, he did something on social media. It was a bit funny.
And you're like, he's going to be in my Moneyball team. What's he got? 180,000 on him?
So he's a real locker room guy. Yeah. You just wanted him in there for the vibe.
So him in Watto. I would love to make a video collage of Watson's highlights with King Cruel music, just real emotional.
Yeah,
I like that.
Water overlaid like the ocean.
I've been having a bit of a cruel moment the last fortnight too, so bit random that you said that. Not a coincidence.
Do you have any predictions for this year?
What am I, Nostradamus, mate? Nah, I've never really been big into predicting or
Just to buck that trend, can I ask for a prediction from you, Brad?
Well, okay, what do you want?
Is Matho going to get game time this season? What does he need to text to Fagsy?
I think the hesitation tells us everything, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I want to get Matho on the podcast. That's one of our goals.
That's a goal.
Pretty pure.
I think he's definitely getting game time.
You did a lot in the VFL or the seconds. Oh, Matho, he needs to be in the COVID pool somewhere. He just needs to be Roman.
Yep.
I'm wrong.
Roman COVID.
So maybe we could manifest a few things for the podcast this year in our predictions. Like, do we want to have a prediction each for the podcast this year? I'm happy to go first.
Oh, shotgun second.
Yeah, because I have this dream that we did put in the pre-season run sheet that we drew up together when we had our planning session a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I'm really keen to freestyle rap with Chris Judd on the podcast. And I'm just putting that out there. I'm just trying to manifest this.
Dude, that's not a matter of...
Yeah, he's a known freestyler.
Yeah. I think we need that to happen. In fact, I actually refuse to come on.
Just Chris Judd freestyle rapping on our show is what I know.
That'd be beautiful.
I don't even have one anymore. All I want to manifest is what Motes wants to manifest. That's all I want to happen now.
Yeah, I don't preview. No.
Nostradamus over here.
I could sit here and I could give you...
You could predict till you're blue in the face.
Fucking, Mason Cox, well, bloody, in the Coleman. That's right there. Mason Cox will win the Coleman.
Mason Cox
with the
wins Coleman.
glasses.
If that happens, I will eat those sunnies.
And then like about 6 weeks in, people will be like, something in the sunnies. And other people will start copying him.
And then he'll absolutely just fall to pieces. That's what always happens. It always happens, you know. It'll catch on like, well, if everyone will start wearing sunnies, he'll stop wearing sunnies, he'll kick no more goals.
Actually, I think it's time for Motes Ground of the Week. We actually have a new segment.
Nice.
Motes Ground of the Week.
This week brought to you by One Sneaky Cheater. And welcome back to Motes Ground of the Week. So this week we're going to our smallest state. We're going below the equator, as is most of our country.
Below the equator. Altitude?
Below the Bass Strait to Tasmania. So we're going to Queenstown. One of Australia's most famous ovals. It's actually all gravel. There's no grass at all on the oval.
Oh, wow.
Jesus, Rubes, have you heard about this?
No, I have not heard about this skate park ovals.
It's pretty raw.
Yeah, so due to the 2,400 mils of rain that they get a year and the fact that it's near an open mine and there's pollution to do with that, they just can't grow grass up there in Queenstown on their oval. Well, enough for it to be considered an oval. So they play on a big gravel pit that they get a 10-ton roller out before the game and they just knock all the loose gravel back into the ground. They haven't lost a home game in 3 years.
Okay.
And Chris Fagan's actually from Queenstown, so that's his home.
That explains a lot.
And I got a little bit of a grab from Cheryl Gamble, who is the lady who washes the Guernseys at the club down there. I actually ripped her from an ABC article. I didn't actually speak to Cheryl myself. So she reckons she has to wash all 42 Guernseys from the A and B grade each week, including the blood and gravel-soaked jumpers. You have to hose them off before you put them in the washing machine, was a direct quote from Cheryl.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah, I'd get my knees would be all...
Your knees would be fucked. Yeah. You'd learn how to keep your feet, though.
Yeah, you would.
I'm just picturing, like, one of those old-school Nuffy type amateur coaches just saying, whoever goes harder and lower is going to win. And then you come off with gravel rash. One of their players actually did pass out from gravel rash in the shower.
Dude, I didn't even know gravel rash was a thing until now.
You get enough unidentified objects in your body, shuts down, mate.
Yeah. Old gravel legs, they call him now.
Nice.
All right. St Kilda.
Oh, we're going to give a round of applause to Motes. We
were doing seamless.
Sorry, I thought it was real good.
Just on our new players at teams, St Kilda picked up Jack Hayes, who's a South Aussie boy.
From the Eagles.
Actually, we were at a bar the other day, and his younger brother came up to me and was like, I'm not sure what order he said it, but he said he knew of the podcast because he said he knew that I drove skip bin trucks.
Oh, there you go.
Which means he listened to at least 5 minutes of one episode.
First episode, in fact. I think it was the first episode.
Yeah, he listened to the first episode. And he's like, my brother's going to go to the Saints. And I was like, who's your brother? He said his name. I didn't know who it was. But then our friend Tom O'Malley filled me in. And I was like, I actually do know that guy because he won the medals at the SANFL Grand Final 2 years running. So when I went back over to him, I was like, yeah, I do know who your brother is. He's like, no, you don't, mate.
Yes! And that's real. Dude, shout out to Jack Hayes' little brother.
Jack Hayes.
Thanks, Hazy.
St Kilda, that's their like... they've got Jack Crazy. They've got all the people named Jack.
Everyone called Jack. They got
like number
Jack.
7. He's like now. I don't know what number they're up to.
They've lost a few Jacks though.
Well, they
too.
might have lost a couple, but they're taking the piss. Surely.
They're absolutely taking the piss.
Can you go through them at all, Snake? Are you able to? Was that too many?
Look at Clarkie shaking his head. The disappointment on his face.
That's just a classic. I don't even know if that's disappointment. That's just like Reuben's at it again.
What have I done?
He doesn't even.
What have I done?
He's one sneaky cheater.
He's like, can you name all 700? Jack Steele. Jack
He hasn't
Steele.
got a list here, Rubes. Do you think he knows it? He hasn't got a list here.
Jack Steele, Jack Billings, Jack Sinclair.
Time Romper.
Jack, the little guy.
Yeah, the little
guy,
one.
the sheets.
Jack Gresham?
Billings.
That's not bad, Jay Gresham.
Yeah, same thing though.
Jack, the guy who's always not goal hungry, but a little
bit goal hungry?
A little bit the blonde hair.
Is he a surfer? He could be a surfer.
Not sure. Anyway, this is why we don't.
Blonde Jack.
This is crap pod.
I thought it was alright.
No, it was alright. Seven. Yeah, it was like, it reminded me of a time where my dad, we got McDonald's 3 times for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Wow. Yeah.
When the trifecta.
Our friend Suts loves this story.
This is the best story of all time.
So it's like, we went up and we just got Macca's breakfast. I don't know where we were. That's classic.
Like,
that's
you weren't planning.
Yeah. No planning.
Okay.
It must have been a Saturday with Dad. Mum worked Saturdays.
Mum worked,
Dad,
Mum
Saturdays, Dad turned, used to take us to Nan's for his mum's for breakfast because he couldn't handle the full day with the kids. Anyway.
Also, one less meal. One less meal.
One less meal. So, we went to Macca's breakfast. Then we were shopping in Rundle Mall, okay, in like a plaza place. And Dad's like,
plenty of places to eat. Plenty of places to eat.
Oh, get Macca's. I don't know. It's a different menu.
It's a different menu.
Breakfast.
Yeah.
So I was like,
it is a different menu.
Fair enough. And then when Mum got home from work, she must have been like, what are we having for dinner? And there would have been a moment Dad's like, I'm bringing it home. We're going to the 3. And I think at that point, we're in rare territory.
Oh, yeah.
You bring it home.
Very rare.
You brought it home.
Very rare.
I'm not sure if Mum knew we had...
There's no way. There's no way your mum knew.
Poor parenting.
She didn't.
If you hadn't had the breakfast, if you just went if you went Nan's breakfast then lunch at Macca's, there's no way you would have had Macca's for dinner.
No way.
There's no way.
No way.
No. Also, I feel like the rarest part of that is the breakfast. Like, it would be rare that you would be in a situation where you would be getting...
Yeah, well, I agree with Motes there, especially
Macca's
staying home with...
breakfast.
I can't relate because my old man's the opposite and would never, ever, ever, buy me Macca's, or that wouldn't be an option. But I feel like Macca's breakfast is a journey,
Yep.
It's like you really got to commit to the idea because you can easily falter and be like, nah, screw that. CBF going there.
I can see Dad just being like, yep.
It's too hard.
He's
it's
never
too hard.
getting it. Like, Dad would just be focused. Like, we're getting
back.
Yeah. I don't want it, Dad.
Yeah. Well, you get it.
I had Macca's 3 times yesterday.
I would love to know what your old man ordered for those 3 orders, because I feel like he's definitely going bacon and egg,
bacon, egg or sausage,
2 hash browns. Yeah. I reckon your old man probably might even get a coffee from Macca's. For lunch, he's definitely going classic. He's going Big Mac, large meal. And then dinner, maybe a bit outrageous,
One of the limited time burgers, I reckon, for dinner.
Yeah,
whatever was on, like a mcOz.
Yeah, or a you reckon a mcOz?
Trey mcOz.
Trey mcOz. Bang them down.
It's like when they were doing gravy at Subway.
No one remembers that.
Housekeeping.
So
St Kilda, I'm not sure where Hazy plays. He might even be...
He'll play up forward for St Kilda.
Yeah, because they also got Jared Leanett, who's an ex-Port backman, and he's a good player. Because Port, I swear, I may have talked about this before. Being a Port fan, I have a little bit more intel, or I see more of them play. They always seem they're hoarding tall backmen, or just backmen.
They've got all the tall backmen.
I see so many. I'm like, this guy could be playing somewhere and doing well.
I feel that.
But then a lot of the times. So they'll come in the Port team, they'll do really well, right?
Yep.
But then when they do go to another team, dead.
Yeah.
You're going...
Brad,
it's so weird.
Such a
Jasper
good point.
Pittard. St Kilda do it a lot. They've had... well, actually, one of them went there, which is Dougal Howard. He's actually pretty good.
Dukes.
Logan Austin was another one who we had a year where we had hella injuries in the back line, so he had to step up and be one of the main. But sometimes you have to step up, they take to it, man. Especially the backmen. It's a little bit easier to step up.
They always do.
It's like, we need you.
I think they do for maybe the first game is just pure adrenaline. It's like, fuck, first game I'm playing on Buddy Franklin, I've just got to do it, sort of thing.
So cool. I love that shit.
Yeah.
I just feel like Port can always rely on their tall backmen. I think Clury is always pretty.
Well, he wasn't even playing in the finals.
No, he wasn't. But what's the word when you obviously you do good every week? Reliable. Yeah. He's a reliable. I think going back a while now, but I remember Homshi used to play on. Most of the best forwards, and Homshi was unbelievable.
Yep. So, what am I going to do?
Tall backman.
I was thinking about Tal Backman, who sings She's So High.
Oh, high above me. She's so lovely.
Used to, on my way back from North Adelaide under 18s training. That's too embarrassing.
Come on,
Leave
should
that
share
one?
that.
No,
Should've
mate,
shared
I had my first girlfriend. Oh.
Now we are in rare territory.
It's just cheating.
All right, I'm kind of into it.
Yeah, but don't say it if it's cheesy then. Either say it or don't say it.
Everything.
Yeah.
One
All right, let's get into.
Actually, press do something.
Yeah, do some.
Do something! Do something!
And then
At least you can come up and say, I did this!
Okay, I'm motivated now.
Yeah.
On the way
feeling
back from my under-18s training, which I just didn't like, but then I was going to my girlfriend's house at the time, high school sweetheart, and that song came on, and I was, I was in,
euphoric.
The emotion and like singing,
Singing above your range is euphoric.
It is.
And that would have been very much above Brad's range. It's a high. Well, no, it's a very high falsetto song. You know, hard for most
What do
guys.
you say about it, mate?
All right, Brad, we've got a very special guest coming up next.
Yeah, TMac's about to join us on the phone. For those new listeners, last year we followed TMac as a fantasy dream team that he does. He has a...
They got a league, so his team's 102 Footy.
Yep, in a league with some mates. And we followed his journey last year of the ups and downs of the season. And
Coaching life, really.
Yeah. But T-Mac doesn't muck around with his draft. This is like what makes his draft special is if I'm getting this correct, is there's no one else with the like. How do you explain that?
They take it very seriously.
There's only one player, one pick when one player.
That's it. Yeah.
It's the AFL draft fantasy style rather than
just a dream team.
Yep, but we call it Dream Team because it's how we do it on the
Exactly.
pod with the boys. That's how we do it.
Back once again for the Renegade Master. It's the Dream Team check-in with McMahon.
All right, welcome back, T-Mac, to the podcast.
Back once again for the Renegade Master. D4 damager, power to the people.
Dude, just let this roll
Yeah,
out.
let that ride out. Now, we're very excited to have one of our favourite guests back, the coach, manager and owner of 102 Footy, our favourite fantasy football side. Tom McVan, how are you, mate?
Samuel Moten, it's been 5 years if it's been a day. How are you, mate?
Well, thank you, mate. Well, thank you. Sounds like you're well.
Very well, yep, very well.
Mate,
Not to beat this time of year.
I understand you guys are fresh off a draft function over the weekend. Can you give us any tales from that weekend?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a fantasy retreat in the end. So just a spectacular weekend. Unfortunately marred with a couple of inopportune COVID diagnoses to a couple of key coaches. However, we pressed on. We had a fabulous dinner on Saturday night, which was rolled into a fairly early and decadent lunch on the Sunday. Then it was time to draft. We drafted at a mate's boardroom and then headed back to an Airbnb where we stayed for a couple of nights. The Monday morning was very much a recovery, long weekend in Adelaide. And we had yoga in the morning, then ice baths, followed by a Mexican feast. And, told tales of the draft, analysed our lineups. It was a fantastic celebration of fantasy.
Beautiful. And how's your team looking for 2022?
Look, reasonably happy. I adhered to my draft strategy pretty well for the first 4 or so rounds of the draft, but then really lost my way. I mean, by this stage, we'd had several cocktails at lunch and then in the boardroom, that just continued. So you're not quite there. And as a result,
It doesn't sound like the optimum drafting.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. And I had prepared fairly intensely, so I'd done a lot of the work prior. And look, I managed to come out pretty well. I think there's some project players in there, a couple that probably won't last the week. But, that just gives opportunities. And you don't want a full side at this time of year because you want to be able to constantly refresh your list off the waiver wire.
Yeah. What was your strategy?
Well, as I'm sure many listeners would know, there is a significant shortage of forwards this year. You've got those top tier guys, but then all of a sudden you blink and Kane Lambert's the best option. So it was really important to me that I loaded up on forwards, and I did so in the first 2 rounds. and then stash another couple of guys in the first sort of 5 or 6. So my forward line's definitely my strongest this year, and that'll give me a distinct advantage over my opposition, who will likely have to really scour the waiver to try and find some options.
Mac, I'm just wondering, what was your preparation like leading into?
Yeah, it was interesting. It was non-existent for a period of time. I really struggled to find the love over the off season. It was just I don't know. It was challenging to get into it, and quite a few of my mates were saying, "Oh, you know, I've really dug into the study this weekend," but I wasn't quite ready. But then I knew the muse would strike, and when the muse strikes, you obviously capitalise. So I really got into it in the end, and prepared a wealth of notes and data, which I had at my disposal on the day. But it was definitely one of the later starts I've ever made to a fantasy preseason. Well, but I kind of liked going in fresh like that. It was refreshing.
Yep. Well, you finished the season quite late as well. You know, you're on a different time schedule as maybe some of the other.
And that was it. And it was such a cruel way to end the season last year. You know, I obviously would have won the flag if Patrick Dangerfield doesn't get subbed off at 15. And so had a really good side. So it's really difficult it's exhausting to build a side like that and then come away empty-handed. So it just took a bit of time for me to come back to the game. And yeah, you're right. It's not dissimilar to an AFL side taking a bit of an extended preseason after making a deep run into the final series. So it was probably justified in the end.
Are you at peace with the Dangerfield 15 in that final?
No, because he played the next week and dominated. It wasn't even a valid injury. It was a heavy blow, and just bitterly unlucky. So no, I'm not. But that's okay. I'm happy to carry the wrongdoings of my past on my back and use that as motivation.
Now, very well put once again, Tom, and I'm sure we've got lots of fans of fantasy that are keen to see who you're going to be bringing in and out every week.
Yeah, I might just give you a couple of quick names if I can, just because I know the listeners are always looking for hints and tips. Just a couple of guys to watch this year who I have drafted. The reasons why we can just hold off on, because I know we're short on time, but 2 guys that I picked up in latter rounds who I'm pretty bullish on this year are Zach Guthrie and Mitch McGovern. You might be laughing now, but there's been some role changes and I've noticed some things. So let's see how it goes, okay? And let's see who's laughing come the end of round 1.
Wow.
Who's your, just roughly go through your list if you can. Just,
just from top to bottom.
Obviously, who's your first couple picked? Like that's you know.
Yeah, my first 2, I went forward. So I went Josh Dunkley, my first forward. He's back in the midfield. I think the roles are short. I think the bodies are short. He was one of the better players in the competition, fantasy-wise, until he got injured last year. And but the listeners don't need to hear that because they know about Josh Dunkley. And then next I went Stephen Coniglio. I'm mega hot in the Giants this year. I think they're an absolute lock to be top 8. I think they can be top 4. But you've got to remember, last year was disastrous for the Giants, and they still made and won a final. So I'm big on the Giants this year. I'm big on Coniglio's resurgence being linked to that rise. So yeah, Coniglio and Dunkley were my 1-2 punches in the first 2 rounds, and I'm pretty confident in both their prospects for season 2022.
Nice one, Macca.
Awesome. All right. Well, we look forward to following you on your journey this year with the 102 footy.
Very much so. I feel like this year is going to be well and truly a roller coaster. And I'm
looking forward to it as well. And just can't wait for our weekly catch ups. It's always always great to be able to go through the highs and lows with you boys. So yeah, should be good.
I'm sure it's therapeutic for you too, Mac, as it is for us. So yeah, we'll check in with you next week, mate. Thanks very much once again.
Thanks, guys. All right. See ya.
Many blessings, and we wish you many blessings to travel through these COVID times and your team like a stealth cat.
Yep.
And
Thank
umpire
you.
Dean Margetts.
Yep. Marvellous. All the best, fellas.
Cheers, Tommy. Catch you later.
Thanks, Mac.
See you, Tommy.
You know, being a Good Footy Energies podcast listener, when you drive past a bloke practicing his goal kicking, you're not like anyone else. Because when you drive past, you know you've got to do something about it. Because you know you're the only one who can really help. And that's what drives me, is that I know we have an opportunity here to really help for the first time, effectively change people's lives, and I'm dedicated to that. I'm absolutely, uncompromisingly dedicated to that.
And now it's time for Uncle Glenn's Footy Tips.
All right, so my Uncle Glenn is actually in a footy competition with his mates, I'm pretty sure it is. And they do the one where they pick all the teams before the whole season started.
Oh, yeah. So they're crazy.
So I've actually got his list here. He gave to me he left for his... They actually went on a fishing trip or some sort of trip, or the boys before the season.
Right,
yeah. Which is, so... Because I would have liked to have had him on to maybe go through his tips, but we can
just have him on when he gets back.
Yeah. We'll just... I guess each week we might just give his tips and everyone can follow along, see how he's going.
You know what would be funny though, if he does unbelievably well and we're also giving away all his answers to the entire season. So the start of it, imagine if someone listening every week is like, here's Uncle Glenn again. I'm just going to put down Brisbane.
For anyone else out there listening, I had no idea who to tip for round one, so I might just go with Glenn's tips as well.
I like that.
He's gone Melbourne... Oh, I don't know if I read them all out.
No, read them all. Read them all. It's round one. Read them all.
Round one, read them out. We'll have them on the screen as well for YouTube. We'll put them in the show notes. He's gone Melbourne, Richmond.
Over who, though? Just in case.
Carlton.
Let's make it longer.
Yeah. Collingwood, Geelong, GWS, Brisbane.
Told you.
North Melbourne, Crows and Eagles.
Yep.
So I'll put that on the screen. So, we'll just...
Rare mix from Uncle Glenn.
We'll try when he gets back from the trip or whatever.
Should be back next weekend, shouldn't he?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how long they go away for. Sometimes they go away for a while. But
they go fishing for a long time.
Not sure.
Like our friend.
I think he's out of range at the moment. But
he'd have 0 bars.
Yeah, geez, if he gets full 9, we'll definitely be following on that very closely.
Yep. I'm excited. All right. Well, thanks to you for another episode.
Another one in the bank.
Feels good to be back. Feels good.
It does feel good. Sorry, we're laughing because we sort of stuffed up the first outro.
Yeah, okay.
So if you hear the music playing now, which is beautiful, Simon Wood and his beautiful voice.
Beautiful.
Just hit me then how beautiful it is.
It's beautiful.
Took me 12 months. But
from an editing point of view, it is a bit of a ballast.
Yeah, so we're on a tightrope here because if we stuff up, it's hard to edit because you got the music in the background. But you know what? I don't mind. I think the viewers respect that.
Exactly, mate. Live by the sword, die by the sword.
Some respect. So
it's the first time we've had to cut anything as well.
RESPECT.
Generally, we just go through.
My headache is your drive away home.
Yeah, exactly.
And we would know Motes will be first out the door.
I'll be first out for sure.
I want to read a tweet.
Oh, you got a twoosh.
Your Twitter's been popping off recently, Bradley.
Oh, thank you.
And you can find Brad at Good Boy
Good Boy
on
Twitter. So I want to read out a tweet. This week, one of my tweets was, I always miss Shrove Tuesday. Can somebody give a brother a reminder?
Dude, that is the best tweet of all time. It's so relatable.
Seriously,
relatable.
Every year
you always miss it.
Wait, when's Lent?
Because you remember on Ash Wednesday, I swear, always when Wednesday rolls around, you're like, it's Ash Wednesday.
I even missed Ash Wednesday. Ash Wednesday.
But what do you mean you haven't missed it?
No, I missed it this year.
Oh, yeah. There's a joke by comedian James Acaster. He talks about that because he loves it's Shrove Tuesday, a.k.a. Pancake Tuesday.
Fat Tuesday.
And he always misses it and he sees people with ash on their head and he's like, damn it.
That's actually good.
360. It's a great joke.
That's
364 days.
I didn't see any ash this year, but maybe that's another victim of COVID. Yeah.
Speaking of ash, how much did it suck at school when you obviously get the cross on the forehead, but yours would be kind of wimpy with the ash? Like you want to go all out on the ash.
Yeah.
I've got quite a large forehead and always have, so really gave whoever was ashing creative license to maybe draw even one of the 12 stations of the cross.
Some guy commented under it. He's like, "So what are you giving up for Lent?" Brad? I said, "I'm not giving up anything because I missed the fucking start. I missed. I get my pancake. I get me ash. I give up for Lent. That's the rhythm.
That's the order.
That's the order.
That's the
how it's always worked. That's how it's always worked.
That's how my dad did it.
All right, you can catch up with the pod on the socials. They're out
at Good Boy on Twitter. Brad Hollis on Instagram.
There's one on Facebook. And maybe even subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already.
Oh, definitely do that.
Yeah, and on YouTube as well. Maybe leave a review on the iTunes or the
Drop
Spotify.
us a comment as well. That really helps.
Do something algorithmically.
Yeah, okay.
Just whatever. If you get that stinger.
Yeah.
Do something! At least you can come up and say, I did this!
Yeah, even just like telling someone that you're listening to, even if it's your mum and she's not going to understand what you say. What are you doing listening to? Like a Good Footy Energies podcast. She didn't hear that.
Yeah, but you did something.
You did something.
You did something.
And on that note, we leave you. Hope you have a great footy season, and remember to always go full wingspan, Shepherd.
Always.
Oh, and we're going to play you out with a special edition of the Full Wingspan song, a cover by the What the Funk. Which
like
are
a little orchestra.
Yeah, they're
right?
like a Melbourne band. Like
You're joking,
with the
man.
trombones.
Wow.
That's what me and Motes played.
When me and Clarkie heard this, because it was the end of last year, it brought a tear to our eye. It hit us emotionally. It was just because it was like we use that song a lot as well in the year, and Woodsy was loving it as well. And so we'll leave you with that song. Thank you to What the Funk. Find them on social media. They'll be in the show notes. And have a great year and week, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
See you later.
Smoking a pancake.